Hey y'all, and welcome back for another video. I got a question about how important is it to be involved in student organizations while you're in pharmacy school. So today's video is going to be all about student organizations and how to make yourself stand out as a pharmacy school student.
Get your life, plan it out. You can go as far as you can dream. Edges laid, curls popping. She's a doctor of pharmacy.
Before we get into today's video, my name is Bianca, so if you're brand new to my channel, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. I'm an ambulatory care pharmacist. I do videos on pharmacy profession, pharmacy school, residency, all the things. I have a playlist dedicated just to pharmacy, but I also do natural hair, beauty, and lifestyle videos. So if you're interested in any of those topics, make sure you click that subscribe button and join the fam, baby. We would love to have you here. There are a ton of student organizations local to your chapter within your school, also national organizations that pretty much are available to students in different areas of pharmacy. So there are general, like an APHA student organization, which is just the American Pharmacist Association, and then there are special ones. So they have some for Christian pharmacists, they have organizations just for women, just for men, depending on what area of pharmacy you work in. They have, for instance, a community retail pharmacy organization. They have an ambulatory care pharmacy organization. They have one for minority students. So you name it and they probably have it, which I think is good because it gives you different options to look into. They also have fraternities and sororities related to pharmacy as well. So now that you have a big picture of what student organizations are available or accessible to you as a student, how early can you get involved? Your first year of pharmacy school, they have what they call a P1 rep. So as a first year student, literally 2 weeks into classes, you can pretty much sign up to be the P1 representative, which means you are going to represent on behalf of your entire class that organization. So any updates that are needed for the organization, upcoming meetings, upcoming events, you are announcing that to your class, whether that's before class starts or if you're sending out an email. So yes, as soon as P1 year, you can get involved in student organizations. Once you go from first year to second year, you can become the P2 rep. Or if you want, you can expand and take on a different role like committee chair, vice president. There are secretary. There are so many organization leadership roles that you can basically become a part of as early as your second year. Of course, during your first year, you're kind of limited in a lot of organizations to just being the P1 rep, but I don't say that lightly. P1 rep is definitely a title that can take you far because if you've already been introduced to the executive board, you know the organization, the mission and values of that organization. By the time you're in your second year, you have a better insight as to what you want out of that organization, if it's going to be beneficial for you, and you can seek other opportunities and have a leg up on someone else that's just coming in, right? So there are benefits to holding that P1 rep position. Now, in order to be a part of student organizations, you do have to hold a certain GPA. So a lot of student organizations, I believe it's either 2.0 or 2.5. They do have Rho Chi, which is a fraternity for the top, I think, 5 to 10% of your class. So of course, with that organization, your GPA has to be much higher than a 2.5. I want to say it's a 3.4, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me. But that's just an example. When we're talking about student organizations, as you would probably assume, there is a level of time commitment that goes along with that. So when you are a member of these organizations, you want to make sure that you're pouring in your time, but also keeping that work-life balance. And when I say work-life, it's really student-life balance. You want to make sure that you're still putting your studies first. As a student and as a leader within the organization, especially if you're the vice president, president, secretary, you're going to be responsible for attending all of the meetings. A lot of the community service opportunities you are expected to be at. Now, you don't have to be at every single one, but again, that's time that you're carving out of your already busy schedule. Some people may think of the time commitment as a con, but when you think of the benefits of being in the student organizations and the opportunities that are afforded to you just because you are members of various committees and various organizations, I strongly believe that outweighs any of the cons. For me, when I think of benefits of student organizations, number one, the leadership experience. Whether you actually are a part of the executive board or if you're a committee chair, you're still part of the executive board, but you may not have as big of a role. So for example, one of the student organizations I joined, shout out to SNAPA, Student National Pharmaceutical Association. It's for minority students in pharmacy, but we had an initiative just for HIV, like only HIV. We celebrated December 1st as National HIV Awareness Day, and that committee chair, pretty much their biggest initiative was making sure we set up a booth at Walgreens on that day, educated patients on how to get tested for HIV, offered testing on site and resources. And when I say that was their only role, their initiative was HIV. So because of that, during that time of the year, around December, they helped to organize that event. But other than that, they were kind of free of their duties versus the president was kind of driving the organization. So the president was overseeing all of the committees, all of the other e-board members, and as you could assume, their duties and job responsibilities or leadership role was much higher than the committee chair, but at the end of the day, the committee chair can still speak to their leadership. So I say all that to say, when you think of your time commitment, don't overdo it, but also don't underdo it. So if you want to get involved, but you're afraid that you won't be able to balance both, then maybe you aren't the committee chair, but you're part of the committee. So you're still contributing to that. So think of the School of Pharmacy organizations as opportunities for you to speak on later when it's time to interview for a job, when it's time to interview for residency. They want to know, what have you done? You're obligated to go to class, you're obligated to do well in school, take your exams, do your homework, but what are you doing outside of that on your own? Like, nobody's begging you to join organizations or forcing you. So on your own, what have you decided? Okay, I'm going to join this organization. I'm not going to only join, but I'm going to be involved in XYZ committees. So those are the things that really make your application stand out, because at the end of the day, everybody has a PharmD, right? Everybody has completed their 4 years. Yes, GPA is also important, but what about your community service? And a lot of times with School of Pharmacy organizations, you have to be a member of the organization to partake in the community service event. So you can't just be a student and not a paid member and expect to get community service hours. It doesn't always work like that. Sometimes they open it up to the student body, but a lot of times it's exclusive to members of that organization. So that is something to consider as well. Another benefit in joining a student organization, primarily the fraternity and sororities, is these are lifelong commitments to the fraternity and sorority that will carry with you on your CV and resume. And a lot of times people that are part of those same organizations and sorority and fraternities will look out for you. If it's a job interview or a stack of applications and they see that you're a member of Phi Delta Chi, for example, which is one of the pharmacy fraternities, they might pull your application to the side, right? Because in essence, you're a brother or a sister, depending on what fraternity or sorority. So I mean, really, those little nuggets on your CV actually stand out a lot. When you think of student organizations, not only think about how you are benefiting that organization, but how is the organization benefiting you? So when you think of which organization that you want to join, make it meaningful. For me, SNAFA was very near and dear to my heart. As a minority student, I wanted to be amongst other minority students for obvious reasons, right? And also, I was able to be connected with mentors that were also minority mentors that were actual pharmacists. So each student organization has a parent organization, parent if you will, which just means a pharmacist organization. So pharmacist and student pharmacist organization. So for example, SNAFA, the Student National Pharmaceutical Association, has a NAPHA, which is the National Pharmaceutical Association, which is basically all pharmacists. Are y'all following? Okay, so with that being said, for me, SNAFA allowed me to have opportunities to pretty much mentor incoming minority students, number one. Also, we catered to the minority patients in the community. So when we had our health screenings, we went to the Latinx, Hispanic events. We went to the African American communities. Like, we went to our target population and helped serve them. So it kind of resonated with me because that's just kind of where my heart was. They also had a pediatric organization. So if you love spending time with babies and pediatrics, then that's the organization for you. They have a geriatrics if you like older patients. Depending on what your passions are, that will make it all worthwhile for you as well. And you won't feel like, oh, I'm forced to do this. It's actually something that you enjoy doing. Would I recommend that you get involved with student organizations? Absolutely. Take it one step at a time. Don't jump to volunteer to do all the things or sign up to be on 4 different exec boards. Like, it's not that serious, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed. Don't do it just to check a box. Make sure you're passionate about it. If you have any questions about organizations or how do you sign up, all of that, definitely speak with your student body at your local institution. A lot of schools have what they call a open house, where they have all the organizations visible, where you can walk around, learn more about the organizations. Definitely take advantage of that and ask any questions to get any clarification out of the way that you need. But I hope today's video was helpful. I appreciate when y'all ask questions. Shout out to the question that was asked. If you have any other questions, I am an open book, so let me know in the comments and I will do a video for you guys. Other than that, I'll see y'all on my next one. Bye.